Virginia. It's Between Two Twigs with your host, Susan Jennings Lance.
Well, hello. This is Dr. Susan Jennings Lance, and you're here on our video version of Between Two Ferns, except we don't call it that because, of course, that name is copyrighted, but also because we're not going to insult each other or say vulgar things. So we're on Between Two Twigs. Today, I'm so excited. I get to talk about one of my favorite things, which is travel and study abroad, with one of my favorite people, Dr. David Dawley. Dr. Dawley, wave to everybody.
Wave.
Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yes.
And thank you for the compliment.
Oh, he's
nice
awesome.
to be here.
So, Dr. Dawley is a professor in the Department of Management, but he's also the director of the Robbins Center. And so I'd just like to let him introduce himself a little bit, talk to you about how he got to where he is, his background, and what the Robbins Center does. So take it away, Dr.
Thank
Dawley.
you for the introduction. I'm starting my 19th year of professorship here at the university this fall. I can't believe it's been that long. 3 years ago, I began also a dual role, and that second role was as director of the Robbins Center for Global Business and Strategy. And just recently, just some months ago, I was promoted to be the executive director of the same center. We now have a director who works for me, and the center is growing, and our international efforts are growing. The primary objective of the center from the student perspective is to get students that abroad experience, get them into an international university or climate for a period of time.
Awesome. So why is it important for students to go somewhere else and study? I mean, you know, we have a nice country.
We do.
We're making it great again. I mean, why is it important that we go out there and study other cultures?
We know the end goal of a college degree is that job, that big job at the end of the rainbow, right? And what employers are looking for is international experience, at least in many cases. If you think about it, most firms today hiring our students are multinational firms to some extent. They either compete with or do business in the global arena. And so therefore a global experience for the student is important in terms of being on the resume, and is important to hear from the employer's perspective. Okay.
All right, so it's important to have a global experience. And you know, I have to say from my own experience in life, okay, it's so much easier to go abroad now than it once was. When I was in college, my roommate went to France for a semester to study abroad. And the only way we could communicate with her was to go to the post office, get special stationery that was airmail stationery that was really thin. Remember that stuff?
Do.
And you'd write a letter, hand write a letter, and then you would put it in an envelope, and then you go back to the post office, and you would get a special stamp to go to that country, and then you would mail it, and it costs more than a regular letter. You could make phone calls, but it might take you an hour to connect the phone call, okay? I mean, a long distance phone call overseas was a huge thing, and it was expensive, and it took a long time to accomplish. And so basically, when somebody went abroad, they went away, and you didn't talk to them or you didn't communicate with them other than by letter for however long they were gone. And in fact, on her birthday, I remember I sent her a telegram, which nobody uses anymore, but that literally meant that I went to Western Union and I paid somebody money to sit there and go tap, 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 tap in Morse code to send a message, which was happy birthday, ding dong or something. And then somebody in France went tap, tap, and they wrote it down, and they took it to her apartment and handed it to her. And I paid, at that time, something like $25, which would be like $100 now. And don't tell my mother I did that, so that I could wish her happy birthday. Now I go to Starbucks and I see our international students literally sitting there on the phone, FaceTiming their parents. I have talked, and the students who are online know about some of the international experiences I've had in the last couple of years. I literally have a nanny cam on my 83-year-old mother that I would check on my phone from all over China, and I would, using the internet, and I could talk to her too. And using my phone all over Brazil, I was able to do that. So it's a different world now. I mean, you can communicate in real time all the time.
Absolutely. I went 30 years ago to Europe, and travel then was very, very different than it is now. And I, like you, for a minimal cost, you can talk on your phone, you can FaceTime on your phone, you can stream video, your your carrier works in most countries abroad. So it's a very seamless transition for technology.
It doesn't have to be so cut off.
It's not cut off at all.
But the flip side of this is, because it's so easy to communicate with people in other countries, we do it more now. My husband will get up in the middle of the night because he has to be on a conference call with people from India or people from England who have started their workday 5 hours earlier than he has, but he has to work. He has to do a meeting with them, and they have to do it in what we think of as the middle of the night. And there are other issues too, like there's the whole issue of culture. Like I keep thinking about this summer when I was in Brazil, we were attending a lecture, and the woman who was giving the lecture, she was the marketing director for an electronic wine distributor company, and she started out by saying, "Ladies, the reason that we wear makeup and lipstick is why." And I was thinking, well, I wear makeup and lipstick so I won't look washed out. And then she was like, no. Why do you wear lipstick? Who's it for? And I'm thinking, well, I wear lipstick because studies show that you make more money if you wear lipstick. And she said, no, we wear lipstick because of men. And I was like, I don't wear lipstick because of men. My husband doesn't even like lipstick. What the heck, you know? And I began to realize that we had a very different cultural approach to that issue. And so for me, it was a great learning experience that not everybody kind of looks at it that way. And that doesn't even begin to touch what went on in China 2 years ago. And so those are reasons that I think it's important to study abroad. Can you tell a little bit about your experience being abroad a few years ago for business?
I think you're alluding to my trip to Cairo, Egypt, as a business person to consult with the government. I did that, and I ran into a very precarious situation in that I opened up my speech. I was to be there for a week, which I was, and about 15 minutes into my first lecture on a Monday morning, I noticed that the audience became disgruntled and started talking loudly, and that was kind of
Murmur.
Yeah, that kind of took me off my game, and the grumbling turned into yelling, and before I knew it, we had to stop the speech, and I had a panic attack, and I talked to my interpreter, though, and she said, David, it's okay. This is how the culture starts off their business week. They have some frustrations, some concerns about the workplace. They're trivial. They want to be heard, and once it's over, it passes. And indeed,
and this is a very common thing in some countries to kind of throw it all out there on the table on day one. And if you're the person who's speaking, then you're in the hot seat, right?
It was noise and chaos, but after that, it was a very enjoyable experience for all of us.
So I guess what we're trying to say is that different cultures do things differently,
they
right?
do, yeah.
And so the sooner you start to experience that, and the sooner that you have an eye view of the way that the other cultures in the world are operating, the more smoothly and the better a business person you can be when you have to deal with these other cultures, which we all do now.
Indeed.
I mean, there's no hiding. We're a flat society. We can contact somebody in Shanghai in 1 minute and then contact somebody in Australia the next and conduct business doing that. So having said that, the Robbins Center is there to help students study abroad. How does it do that?
Well, there's two ways. One, we have put together a number of programs with a clearinghouse in the College of Business for all things international travel. So we have a range of programs from 12 days with a faculty member in May, and you've participated in that just recently too.
Yes. Where did I go, David?
Well, let's say that would be Christ the Redeemer. So I'm guessing you were in Brazil, and specifically you were in Rio de Janeiro.
Yes, this is from, see the little Christ the Redeemer things on this is a kanga, and this is something that in Brazil a woman would wear with her bikini. I don't have very many bikinis because I'm a little past that. So I took my kanga with little Christ the Redeemers all over it, and I wear it as a scarf. Anyway.
You're wearing that proudly as well, aren't you?
Woohoo! Yes. No, it was awesome. And I think there are some pictures of us in Brazil that I put on the website, and I'll probably post a few more in there because we got such a lovely experience. We got to visit all kinds of businesses. We went to the Natura cosmetic company. We went to Nespresso. They make coffee. It's the Nestle version of coffee. Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. We got to see the BW, the Brazilian Stock Exchange. So we had a great time. So yes, Brazil, that's one trip.
And India, we put that together. So Brazil and India were brand new trips just this past year. In fact, they just completed themselves a couple months ago.
And so you went to India?
I did. I led 17 students to India and brought them back safely. We saw 5 different cities, the Taj Mahal, universities, a number of businesses and cultural things of interest. Very similar to your Brazilian trip, just in a different continent.
Okay, and did anybody else go anywhere?
We had a China trip, which involved about 30 students, graduates and undergraduates, and they visited 4 cities this year in China. I hear that was a wonderful experience from all that went.
I have been to the places that the China trip goes. Well, you went on the China trip a couple of years ago.
Did.
Yeah, and so, I mean, literally on these trips, people, tell a little bit how it's set up. I mean, do people earn credit? Does it take very long? I mean, how does that work exactly?
Well, for these short 12-day programs, you can earn 3 credit hours with minimal on the ground
3 credit hours.
or even
In Brazil, woohoo!
4 credit hours if you come to India with me, but we're competing
Smarty
here.
pants.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
3 credit hours for a 12-day trip. There'll be minimal on-the-ground prep, but there will be some, a few exercises to get you ready for that trip. Most of your learning takes place abroad because we spend, 9 months last year putting together all parts of the Brazil and India trip. We have you in a university for a part of a day. We'll have you doing some cultural things for
We
part
were
of the day.
at the best marketing university in all of Brazil. It was fantastic. And I just ran into somebody from Brazil yesterday, and I told him what university we spent time at, and he said, "Oh, those snobs, those rich people." It's a very good university.
I'm glad you had a great experience. We visited a university in India as well, not quite as prestigious as the one you saw in Brazil.
That's because we were awesome.
That's because you are awesome. And in addition to that, to the university trips, we also do cultural immersion. So it's kind of like a 50-50 mix. But 12 days, it's a whirlwind trip. We have everything planned, during the course of the day. So you're engaged, you're interested. Your students have a great time. That's the most important thing. And they come back with their eyes wide open. Most students will say it was a life-changing experience, in so much as that they saw things they'd never thought they'd see before in a positive way.
One student at one point said, when we were out in these fantastic dunes that we visited.
I saw pictures.
And I'll flash some pictures up, but one of the students said, everybody says that study abroad is the best experience of their life, and I always thought that was wrong. And he said, and now I'm like, study abroad is the best experience of my life. So we set it up last year so that like finals were over on Friday, and then we all left on Saturday, so that you were going exactly 12 days, and you could come back and have a summer job or a summer internship. But it is right around that time in May that is kind of between semesters, which was nice too.
And we picked the most user-friendly time we could think of, and that is right after exams and get you home in 12 days in time for your summer courses or your internship or your family vacation or what have you. We're also looking at putting some programs into spring break of 2019, in addition to maybe something for Christmas break in the future as well. So we're trying to put these short trips together throughout the course of the school year.
Spectacular. Well, okay, so you go on the trip, and are the people on the trip all like freshmen? Are they all 18 years old?
No, I think the students that ranged, at least in my experience, from late freshmen, as in second semester freshmen, to first semester seniors. And also peppered in those trips as well, and you had 1, I had 6, were graduate students.
Yeah.
So we have students 18 to 50 years old.
Yeah, so the graduate student on our trip was like 33 years old, had 3 kids. He and I had more in common, I think, that I did with the 18-year-olds on the trip, although we all had a spectacular time. And one other piece, he was an online student. He was on an online program, and so the people on this trip, very few of them knew each other ahead of time. Most people, it wasn't like a little cliquey group of people who all went on the trip together. These were strangers who we put together for 12 days, which worked out very well. So anyway, if the people taking this course might actually be taking it in the summer, might be taking it in the spring. So we don't know exactly what of these courses we have available right now when you are currently taking the online B-Corps 199 class that you are taking right this minute. So for the most up-to-date information about the trips that we are taking, there is a website, and I don't know what that website is, but we're going to flash it on the screen so that you can go there and see what those trips are.
Or you can Google WVU Study Abroad.
Or do that. But for the ones for B&E, these specific 12-day trips, there's a specific website.
Flash, and they should contact the Robbins Center, my center, or the director, Brian Chang, with information. We have our fingers on the tabs of all trips at all times.
I had some students who said, wow, that was a really interesting immersion experience. I want to do this for a whole semester. So are there opportunities like that available where you don't just go for 12 days? I mean,
well, yeah, in fact, there's many more opportunities to take a whole semester abroad and study if that's what you want. In all the G20 countries around the world, at some of the top schools around the world, we have exchange programs with the universities where you can, in many cases, you can pay just a WVU tuition fee, but go study abroad and possibly in London or in Spain.
And so
or
you're
in
paying your
Australia.
living expenses there, but you're paying your tuition here, but you're not really paying anything else. So if you have like financial aid sometimes to get 3 credits or 12 credits here, you're not, that financial aid would actually cover what goes on there, right?
That's right, it would. And scholarship money, if you have any, would pay into this in many cases as well.
And those 12-day trips that we referenced, there were scholarships students had to go on those, right?
Yeah, in fact, we had 21 scholarships. We created a new program last year where we funded about half of the cost, actually more than half of the cost of their travel for 21 students in those 3 different trips that we've been talking about.
So if you're really interested in doing this, it may not be as expensive as you think it is. Now again, we're not going to talk about expense right now because we're probably going to use this video several times before we update it, and that information is changing. So you would go to the Robbins Center to get the information about those 12-day trips with the business faculty, and you would go to WVU Study Abroad for the information about these other programs throughout the rest of the university. Is that correct?
That's right. And scholarship opportunities are also at both websites. WVU Study Abroad has an offering of scholarships and a segue to scholarships on the national form, as well as the Robbins Center, who has the college-specific scholarships available. And again, last year we were able to find money to offer 21.
Okay, let me ask you one more question. If we're explaining this and somebody is sitting out there in TV land watching us thinking, I'd like to do that, but boy, this is a lot of information to absorb, and they just want to talk to somebody, and they just want to kind of talk through the options. Is there any way that it could do that?
Is a WVU Office of Global Affairs, and the person answering the phone is usually very well skilled and knowledgeable about all the programs that the university offers.
Okay, all right. So what have I not asked you that you really want these students to know?
Boy, I think you've about covered it.
Okay, all right. Well, I just love working with Dr. Dawley. I just love studying abroad and going other places and learning about other cultures and figuring out how to apply that information to the work that I do. I hope that many of you get the opportunity to do this because it is a life-changing experience. And this is the man who's going to make it happen for you. So thank you very much, Dr. Dawley. Thanks
Thank you
for your time.
Thank you. Welcome to WVU.